just a little bit, little bit of background. Our chapter meets once a month on the first Monday of the month, and the meetings begin it's from 6:30 at the end at 7:30. It's 1 hour, 1 hour long, and we always try to have uh, outstanding speakers on subjects that are very important to the Amnesty International community. So just put it on your calendar, and like Bob, he's working on trying to get Senator Menendez to come in and talk about air conditioning in prisons, which is a really important, critical thing, especially here in Texas. So put it on your calendar. And the next item on the agenda is our treasurer, Wally Calloway. He will take a couple minutes to give us a status of where things are as far as finances go. Go ahead, Bob. Wally, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm just checking to make sure I was unmuted. We had three more members pay dues since January 31st, and that raises our paid membership to 14 people. It reminds me, Mohammed, it looks like you have an outstanding check for those T-shirts, which hasn't been cashed.
I have been busy with the election, so
I understand.
Yeah.
So anyway, our balance as of tonight is $1,459 and some cents. And if you haven't paid your 2024 dues, individuals are $20, couples are $30, students are $15. And I will put that information in the chat of where you can mail a check to. Thank you.
Well, Wally, I'm sure that everybody's paid because I make it a point to always be the last one.
Oh, I certainly hope not, because we have more members here than have paid. So we keep trying to and the money is good is used for good things. We sign letters and send them off to various countries, trying to save people's lives and get them out of prison. And we'll pay for the stamps if you write the letters or sign the letters, just simply. And then Mohammed's got some T-shirts. I don't know if you want to talk about your T-shirts, Mohammed.
We'll tell you what, we'll do it after the speaker in the end. So thank you, Wally. So we have a wonderful speaker tonight. The title of the talk today is Climate Crisis Only About CO2? Rethink the root cause and healing of our environment. So the speaker is Dr. Helen Shih. She's a co-starter of the Houston Climate Movement, which is a coalition of environmental activists and organizations in Houston, and the Asian American Action Team of the Citizens Climate Lobby, which is a national climate advocacy organization. She comes from a cancer therapy and holistic health background. As a visionary leader, she also participates in the global planetary healing community that helps to address the urgent social, political, environmental challenges we face in today's world. We, I want to thank Julie Kring. She's the president of the other chapter in Houston, Amnesty International Houston, for contacting Dr. Shih to arrange for Dr. Shih to be the speaker for tonight's program. So, Dr. Shih, I want to thank you for your taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk to our chapter members. So, well, welcome to our chapter. It's all yours now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate this opportunity to meet every one of you, and especially thank Julie and also our colleagues in Houston Climate Movement to make this possible. And I see every one of you are probably veteran or more experienced than me, so I have a lot to learn from you. And I hope that we can spark some interesting conversations. So today's I will be giving a brief introduction of myself and also what Houston Climate Movement is about, and then posting the questions to all of you. And as I said, I feel like I have a lot to learn from you rather than to give any sort of like my in addition to my thoughts I want to share with you. So before I start, I just want to see that how many of you have been in the climate work for a while, maybe experienced, and if you can put in the chat so I have an idea. You can put a number, if you have no experience, you can just put 0. And if you have been in this field for 50 years, you can put 50. So I just want to have a sense that, who I'm talking here. Do anyone mind to put chat here, like the number of years you have worked in the climate? Oh, I do get some 50. Wonderful. I got 12. And see. Okay, 5. Well, if you're on the phone or something, or may not be able to enter the number, that's fine too. I just want to have a general sense. Oh, I do have a see a 0. Okay, wonderful. Yeah, 0 is great. It's a starting point. Okay, Lupita said 30. Less than 1. Okay. Well, you can continue to enter your number while I'm doing my part of the talk. So I'm going to share my screen. And here's my screen. Here's my slideshow. Are you able to see my screen? Okay, great. Yeah. So again, my talk today is about climate and the questions I have been thinking, whether climate crisis is only about CO2 and the root cause and really the solution. So again, I'm really grateful to be here. I looked up on AI's website. It's also called AI, which is very interesting because AI is, taking a really sweeping change in our society, right? So I'm hoping that this AI will also take a change as well. And the AI's website actually lists climate justice as a top priority. So, hey, congratulations. Anyone knows that why did the board put the climate justice as the first one? And of course, all of these problems are so important. And I really feel every one of them is so relevant. And I'm really passionate on every one of them. But it seems that the organization put climate justice top one. Does anyone know the reason?
The whole world could be wiped out.
Okay.
More people in other countries are actually adversely affected and can cope less well with the climate crisis.
I see. But anyway, I want to really encourage you to find out and maybe ask your organizers and organizations, why do they put climate justice as the top one? And also for your own sake, maybe how you orient all of these priorities, right? And what really calls for you. And for me, definitely climate is one of the most important issues I see. And but I also really want to appreciate what organization has put on the front page, which is about Palestine. And that is so important to me as well. I love to see the what kind of actions you're all working. and I love to join that as well, because to me that is really, really important issue that urgently need to be addressed, right? So I really want to thank the organization put that on the front page as well. And just very briefly about myself, I really love this graphic representation of us because I see our human evolution path as a spiral. You know, we started from ocean, a single, possibly a molecule, and now we are, you know, the most intelligent creatures on this planet. And in only occupying really a flash of time, right, in that 4 billion years of evolution. But I also see that individually, each one of us also has a spiral like that. And for myself, you know, maybe I start from a single cell, right? And you know, just follow this spiral and coming to right now, right here to be really such a pleasure to be with all of you, the veterans. Many of you have worked on this climate issue for so long, so I really feel so humbled to be with you. And where I am coming from, as I said, I come from a single cell, but a lot of people ask me, where are you from? So I got to show a picture where I'm from. In terms of the other answers they're seeking. Anyone knows where this is? And anyone been there?
That's just outside of Pearland, isn't it?
I wish so. I really hope so.
In Taiwan?
Actually, it is Beijing.
No.
So it is one of the most well-known historical royal site in Beijing, in China, and it's the west side of Beijing, and it's called the Summer Palace because it is a summer retreat for the royal family of the last Qing dynasty. My family, I grew up right by the foothill, the place where it is considered to be the intellectual center of whole China. It's sort of like a, how do I say? Because all of the intellectual centers and think tanks and really the most well-known universities are out there. That's where I grew up. You're all excused since you don't know much about China. And part of the problem is there's so much China bashing going on, right? To depict the country and the people like me as evil, as a communist, as whatever the bad things that they can imagine, right? And that is the part of the challenges I'm facing, in fact. And I came to US after my college. I came here for my PhD. My doctorate degree is actually in medical physics. I have a PhD in physics. And my previous profession is in medical imaging and cancer therapy. I used to be a professor in MD Anderson treating cancer patients. And after work there for many years, I have my own sort of like interesting time change, like the spiral, right? We are all evolving creatures. And at some point, my spiral started to change directions. And so I actually moved into the field of holistic health. I spent many years, even including now, to work in this field. My husband and I do have a medical imaging center specialized in cardiac care and a lot of, you know, still health medical related things. But I left MD Anderson many years ago also to seek my own spiral evolution, my own consciousness in terms of holistic health. And so infrared imaging is one of the fields I work on to understand the human energy field, our consciousness, and how we as an individual related to the whole planet and the whole universe. So in holistic health, there is one principle we follow. And that is to depict the relationship between we and the ecosystem, and how we related to the planet, and how the planet related to the whole universe. And that is to say that every level of our life reflect the greater principle, the greater law. And I love the field of physics, because physics is to describe and to discover such a relationship and such a law. So I had this distinctive moment when I was, after I left Anderson, my dad and I had a wellness center in holistic health in the west side of Houston. And we actually came up with a new methodology to evaluate people's health. And we actually even coined a new term called health climate, to describe your whole body environment that's supporting you and your body and your mind and your spirit, right? And so we use this term called health climate to describe such a environment you're in and condition. And I had this distinctive moment because my computer has a background screen showing this NASA picture. And I loved space images. And so there's one afternoon I was looking at this, person's image, the infrared picture, and I have this background. I said, oh, wow. I recognize that our health climate in the microscopic level, if you look at the big picture, actually reflects the environment ecology that we are actually living on this planet. And so our health and the earth health is actually one, right? So I really had a distinct aha moment. And from that point on, I recognized that unless the planet is healthy, so we as individuals seek all of this health solutions, supplement, whatever, we're all subject to the bigger environment we are in, right? And so I got started with environmental advocacy work, joined the organizations including Houston Sierra Club and Citizen Climate Lobby is one of the organizations I worked with, and quite a number of them. And that's how I got involved in this field. And right now I'm part of this climate healing community globally. I'm so glad to see that the wellness, the holistic health revolution or evolution had taken place in the last 20 years. It's truly blossomed. And now our healing community continue to grow. And every one of you is also part of that as well. We are all contributing in different way in terms of our own consciousness, how we evolve, and in terms of our own individual and collective actions, right? So Houston Climate Movement is one of the organizations that I'm part of. And I'm right now sitting on the steering committee, co-chairing Climate Action Committee, focused on the action specifically. Houston Climate Movement was started in 2017. And remember, we have to be thankful to President Trump because he truly activated our Earth citizens. If it's not Trump, we would be all sitting at home, right? Business as usual. But immediately after he got in the White House in 2017, there was really a worldwide rallies for climate and rallies for justice, rally for science. So that's how Houston Climate Movement was started right after the climate rally by a number of organizations, including some of these well-known ones you're probably familiar with in Houston. And so the organizations has been there for quite a few years. We are actually responsible to connect all of the local concerned citizens, activists, local organizations, and really to build this sense of community and to bring people together, as well as to create resources and share knowledges across the Texas Gulf Coast. So on our steering committee, I'm one of the member for climate action and climate healing work. And you can see we really want to focus on bring a diverse group of leaders together. And each one of them has different talent and different area of interest. And that's what make this group very interesting. And that's the one of the climate strike focus to bring the students, the future generations, which is extremely important. And my daughter is one of them there. And the big achievement for Houston Climate Movement is to start this Houston Climate Action Plan. And so our leaders really have worked with the city of Houston very hard. That was one of the town hall meeting we had, and creating this climate action plan with Mayor Turner. So this action right now is in place for a number of years and still under review. What every year specific action items that can be taken place. You're welcome to visit the city of Houston to see all of the items being listed there. And also, since then, Harris County also joined the action plan. I'm hoping that other counties, including Fort Bend and surrounding counties, will gradually adopt similar thoughts and similar plans, and to make really specific changes. And we also have candidate forums, and to really introduce, this is the City of Houston Climate Forum, to introduce all of these candidates to the community. And I'm still hoping that we can form really a stronger political coalition, really to have a bigger and stronger voice in terms of politics and who are the candidates we support or not support. And apart from that, there are also community outreach effort. For example, a quarterly film series that actually took place in Fannin, the other UU church in downtown Houston by the Museum District. And this is some of the work I did, try to connect the Asian community to the climate justice work, because to me, in our Asian heritage, there are very interesting thoughts and philosophy, the way we see how we connect with nature. And Asian heritage and culture are so important, fundamental to the way that how the climate justice movement can be really unite more people from our community. So AAPI stands for Asian American Pacific Islander. It's a really large group of people that's really growing very rapidly in Texas. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. Latino and AAPIs are the two largest group that have the rapid growth in Texas. And so without really engaging that community, this climate movement cannot take place, right? And that is the common challenges of some of the environmental organizations. And the other really important function and responsibility of Houston Climate Movement is to organize the annual climate summit for Greater Houston, where we bring the community members, activists, and the local organizations. You're all welcome to join the climate summit as well. And as part of the summit, we discuss really important, urgent issues for Houston area, bring people a sense of awareness, what is happening in Houston and what we can do. And as part of the summit, we also conduct surveys of how individual citizens and community, what we're facing in terms of climate challenges and stress, and giving those report and data back to the city and to the county for them to be aware of what public citizens are thinking and facing. So that's the Facebook page, as well as some of the links. And you're welcome to contact those, make a contact through those channels. And we love to have more members join this Houston climate movement. And so this year last year we're relatively lucky we didn't have hurricane, right? But each year you probably all have sensed how climate is impacting the Gulf Coast area. And this is why some of the issues become really urgent. As I said, my role in Houston Climate Movement is to co-chair the Climate Action Committee, and where we come up with specific action items we can participate. Coming from a really scientific background, I have done some study in this area, and that I will briefly mention about. And that is related to a topic called climate grief. And the reason is the Earth is fever, right? It's on fever. And many of us has felt the stress, although we had climate deniers in our past, but we really thanks to the entire environmental community and also the progressive movement that thankfully the mindset is changing. However, what a lot of people are experiencing is called the climate stress and climate grief, because very often we see in the news negativity, right? Many news on the media and social media is related to how some of this catastrophe coming to us. So this is really putting a lot of us under stress, and the mental stress has become a huge problem. And so that's how I feel actually most of the days. I don't know how you feel, especially those of you who have worked in climate for 50 years, or those of you who just really come into this field, how you feel about the climate issue. So one of the areas that I work on, and partly because my background in health and in medicine and also in spirituality and in holistic health, is to deal with this mental health stress and psychological stress we're all facing. To me, it's also a spiritual stress because it's an existential crisis we're facing, right? Especially to the younger generation. First of all, to think about how our future is going to evolve. And secondly, is to think about what I can do as an individual, right? So that creates a lot of stress to a lot of people, and it can be an overwhelming problem. And I really like this cartoon. It says someone got to do something about climate change. And then the question is, who is that someone, right? Our human behavior is point fingers to other people, is the oil gas people, right? Is the American corporate, is XYZ. So, but really, where our solution can come from. And that is the question I think really on a daily basis. And so there is also another phenomena called greenwashing. I don't know if some of you have heard about that. Greenwashing is a term describing that people use climate and environment as a label and to market certain materials or claiming they're doing something, but what is actually happening may not be impactful, effective, or there's so much self-interest still involved. So for example, talking about climate, it actually fit into that criteria to me, because even though we talk a lot about renewable energy, we're talking about a green transition, but coming from a really holistic health point of view, for example, I see the whole Earth as one entity, right? Just like how I see individual patient as one entity. So when we talk about climate, yes, our Earth is being heating up. It's just like one individual is having fever, right? So if we just address this fever for the sake of addressing the fever, let's say take a fever reduction pill, right? So the issue there, coming from a holistic point of view, is very often we actually will suppress the symptom or ignore what is actually deep cause of that underlying problem, right? So to me, that this is actually happening in our current world. We talk about the climate crisis only focusing on CO2 and greenhouse gas, as if this is the only thing we need to address. So this is why we have a term called allopathic medicine, right? You only address that symptom. Okay, people are going to drive electric cars. I do, I have electric cars, I have solar panel, and people also talk about carbon sequestration nowadays. The big oil and gas company, corporations, ExxonMobil, all of those are talking about spending billions and billions, how to extract the CO2 from the air. I'll give you a concrete example. Anyone knows that we have a big coal plant in Houston? Does anyone know about this?
A big what?
We have a big coal plant, one of the largest one in the nation.
Yes, west of town.
Right, so it's called the Parish Coal Plant, right by Fort Bend, not too far away from Sugarland. The Parish Coal Plant is one of the focus for environmental community in Houston, because that coal plant, as you can imagine, generate electricity, however, it's also polluting the air. But the other big issue is Parish Coal Plant actually had a big $1 million project to extract CO2 from the air. As I said, called this a carbon sequestration project. And some of these big investors are behind that. It become their pet project. And right now there is a push for big oil and gas companies to get a public attention on that, to lobby the Congress in terms of that, in that direction. So to me, this is a classic example of how we address the climate crisis only by focusing CO2, or as I said, as if we are addressing this person's fever only by taking fever reduction pills without really thinking where the problem really lies. And so I spent a lot of time to reflect on this issue, and we're, coming from really the holistic side of the things. My interest is to understand really where the root cause of this problem, how the true healing can take place, right? So even if, let's say, we take some fever reduction pills and we're able to reduce the global temperature, for the best scenario, do you all think that that is a problem solving the future we can face? I really like to hear some of the people here, because you have been all involved in this field for some people said 20 to 50 years. So I want to make this as a very interactive and inspiring talk, and to hear what you have thought about and what we can do at this point. So again, I really want to encourage all of you, maybe raise questions or bring point of a discussion. And if you have any questions or any thoughts, I'd really love to share about that too, to hear from what you have to say.
Dr. Shih, there's some comments in the chat. I think Peter Bowman mentioned methane as being another issue.
Methane is not a climate. Yes, methane, that's right.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yes, I'd like to hear your perspective, whether climate crisis is only about CO2, and if we're able to, for God's sake, to address the CO2 problem, will we have a safe planet to live?
God, do you think we should be taking more of a holistic approach in fighting climate change, not just fossil fuels, but how about the importance of a vegetarian diet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so vegetarian diet is one aspect of that, correct? Yes, certainly.
I do have a comment. Before CO2 was the big issue, it was ozone and nitrous oxides and the hole in the ozone layer, and we were able to reasonably solve that. And now we have another problem to solve, and it is possible to solve it, although it will take more cooperation than we have right now. But I think the problem is the economic system that believes that somehow we can reap profits by destroying the environment, and that's a philosophical understanding of human beings at this point, and that needs to evolve if we're actually ever going to have an Earth that feeds and nurtures everyone.
I love that comment. Yes. So it's related to the economy, right? And I want to add to that, reiterate that is, again, if you think about this person, if this person is having a fever, right? Essentially, if you look at that, our whole Earth is a one ecosystem. If it's too much CO2 in the air, what does that mean? Okay, yes, right now in the public, the attention has been focused on CO2, fossil fuel, all of that. But to me, that is a greenwashing strategy to really divert our attention to something real. And that is the underlying deeper cause of that. And I'm really glad Wally has thought about that. And I really have thought about that as well. So if this person is on fever, and if the Earth have too much CO2, what causes really the increase of CO2 and is heating up the planet, apart from just burning fossil fuel? Anyone has an answer for that?
One of the things is our oceans are becoming saturated with CO2, and we have every year increasing thousands of acres of forest fires. Northern Siberia had a couple years ago estimated about 3 million acres of forest burned. But it's everything seems to be, to me, interconnected, and there's interrelated. And so we have a really, really complex multivariable system that is one thing. It's not just one thing.
Yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
I would say it might relate to capitalism and various forms of capitalism, colonialism, short-term profits. We might say that at the core, some of those concepts are related as well. CO2 is definitely the worst of the greenhouse gases, and it's wise to mitigate CO2 emissions and all greenhouse gas emissions.
Can I add something real quick? That I have to admit that as a parent and a grandparent, this is something I consider this a very, very urgent issue. And I'm terrified for the planet that my grandchildren are going to be stuck with.
Mhm.
What is there a way to help people understand the urgency of this issue, and that this is something that needs to be dealt with immediately? That if we don't deal with this, all other issues really don't matter.
Mm-hmm. We don't have a planet to leave.
Yeah.
Like,
I
I mean, I think
did
of, I think Greta Thunberg talking about being in a burning house. And
Mhm.
people are talking about what to do with it. I can't remember her exact words, but it's basically we're in a burning house. What I'm afraid of is that my husband and I, we're going to pass on, and my beautiful grandchildren are going to be stuck in a house that's burning to the ground. And what can we do? And I think part of the problem also is corporate media that is beholden to corporate interest, and so is holding back on the urgency that people need to have to actually take action on this.
Exactly.
I was gonna make a comment. This is Lupita. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I know I hear the other people, so I'm talking and coughing. Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you. One of the things that that I wanted to speak about is it's not just the capitalism, it's the fact that we have been able to allow all of this pollution that's generating all these problems and all of the behavioral things, including, like a non-vegetarian diet, because it comes at the expense of the other people, usually those who are not present here. And so planning, how we're going to address with this needs to incorporate, who is being affected more directly and how are we going to deal with those inequalities. So yes, the climate change has been a problem for a long time, and the first ones who have been dealing with it have been the people who directly rely on nature, and those are usually the poorest people on this earth. So years and years ago, I will have conversations with very poor people in South America who talked about climate change in a way that I would not hear, an average American ever speak about it. And it was amazing to me how much more this, people will know about it because, you think, oh, well, they're not scholars, but they live very close to Earth. And I think that's part of the problem that we have now. We cannot hide in the forest fires we're talking about. It used to be forest fires in California, which is where I did my schooling. And that's where I moved from one type of engineering to another one, precisely trying to deal with this whole thing before it got out of hand. But nothing was happening and still not happening. But at least something is starting now. And now somebody mentioned about what we're handing out to our children and grandchildren. This is, I think, the wake up call that we have caused a lot of harm and we expect the young generations to fix it. And we just not really even giving them the power, the space to do it. We somehow want to still be in charge, but somehow they're going to fix things when we don't give them any power to do it. So I just wanted to throw that out there because it's a lot more than just science.
Yeah. I just want to quickly a question. What time are we supposed to finish?
I'm sorry, Dr. Shih, what was the question?
What time are we supposed to finish?
Okay, so we are getting close because we still have the Q&A portion, and then we have the drawing for the door prize, and then we close at we end the meeting at 7:30, so we got exactly 15 minutes to do all that.
I see. Okay. Well, we are going through Q&A right at this point. I just want to know what time I have to stop.
I don't know. How about 2 more minutes?
Okay, 2 more minutes. Anyone else have a really urgent questions or urgent comment on this?
Can you spend a couple minutes talking about how our membership can take action with the Houston Environment Action Plan, or join some activities? Our group is extremely active, and they like to do things. They like to write letters, make telephone calls, or go to events and participate. So what can we do to move forward and be part of this Houston Environment Action Plan?
Okay, that's an excellent question. Thank you for that. So I really want to welcome you to join the Climate Action Committee that I am currently co-chairing. And as part of this committee, our job is to come up with the specific plans and actionable items based on the democratic process, because for example, some people want to do this, some people want to do that. One of the common issue we face is the planet. It is a big problem, right? Everyone want to do something, but however, what is really the most effective way of doing things, and with consuming less resources, not getting ourselves overwhelmed, right? So that is a question that I think about all the time, and I really want all of you to join me in that discussion as well. And so as part of the Houston city's climate action plan, I wouldn't recommend you to read it because you're gonna get a headache after you read it, because there's so many things they put it on there, and that is part of the challenge. So my thinking is, this is why today's my topic of the talk is exactly focused on that. My thinking is we really need to address the root cause of the problem. If we're gonna keep on chasing, if we're going to chase after CO2 problem, we're never gonna solve this problem, okay? It's like in medicine, if this person on fever, all we interested is to get rid of the fever, but then the person will be sick again next 2 days, then this problem can never be solved, right? And that is where I see this. The other thing I see is also the connectiveness of all of the problems. I'm really glad that the AI put all of these issues on this website. And to me, all of these problems are actually related. So it is a systematic disease we're addressing right now. And I have some thoughts, and I have thought a lot about the systematic disease and where the cure can come from. And I really want you to think about that as well. And I also need your help to bring such a message to the public. So instead of diverting our public and very limited resources and manpower and brain power to think about only CO2 problem, we need to think about the systematic disease of our society and how we can go after that. Does that make sense to everyone?
Mhm. I have a quick
Yeah.
question.
Mhm.
This is Doug. I wondered, what is climate action at this point recommending when it talks to elected officials? What would you like elected officials to do at this point?
So elected officials have different role to play. For example, some of them are directly having a climate or energy related things on their platform. And some of the city, for example, Houston council members specifically are on energy and environment related issues. And some of them are also related to community, because when we talk about justice, then there is also issue about what different communities are facing. The issue faced by River Oak folks versus people live on the East End or Baytown are completely different, right? So we need to have all of these elected officials, first of all, educate them about what we're concerned about, and then having them come up with the policy changes that may address some of these issues, if that makes sense. But I don't have all of the answers. I can't claim I have all of the answers. That's why I welcome every one of you to join a climate action committee so we can discuss things like this in nature.
Yeah, I think it'd be great with like the city of Houston with their sustainability plan. When I read through that a year or two ago, I thought this is really focused on the city's actions. And I think a huge, and I hoped for that plan to recommend urging, perhaps forcing local businesses to adopt actions to improve. And that's something that we could push the current mayor about.
Correct. We have a new mayor. Exactly.
So I think some of these activities, I mean, can happen as they roll out their updates on how their action plan is working to bring these issues back up. If there wasn't included actions related to business enterprises, for example, maybe in the process they were not thinking about it, but certainly the public can bring it up to their attention. It depends on how those plans were developed. And I'm saying this because Harris County is going through the process of developing the climate justice action plan. And the process is about to start and engaging communities where they can give their feedback on what needs to be done. So getting that feedback directly from the people makes all the difference.
Exactly.
So I need to find a places where the voices are being heard, and the people who have the decision making need to hear them.
Correct. So
Yeah.
I'm glad we got a chance to talk about that. I put my contact there. You're welcome to contact me. And I mean, the time is too short to really delve deep into such a really important question, right? And so I love to have all of you join me and continue to brainstorm and how we can effectively make changes. So that's, again, I want to emphasize this is a systematic disease our society is having. And all of the issues, in fact, listed by AI on its website, all connected together. We're not talking about this person's only on fever, okay? This person is having cancer. We are becoming cancer of the earth. I hope some of you understand and agree with that. And so how do we, okay, as part of that fever, as part of this person's on having cancer, this is why this person having fever. Okay, so just address CO2 is not enough, adequate. And we need a really collective effort to how to shift the public attention, not just about CO2, energy change, green energy, whatever. It's about how to address the systematic disease we're having. So again, I really want to thank you for this opportunity to share with you my thoughts. And I love to have you to continue spend time together and really in an impactful way. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you.
T. This is really amazing. Lots of information, and just not fair to try to compress all this huge issue in 30 minutes or so. But it's a continuous activity, and I'm sure our members will be much more involved in the Houston and the Harris County action plan. Next, let's see, we have like a few minutes left. Bob, are you ready to do your raffle draw?
Okay. So I've got a pot here with everybody's name in here. I stir it up. All right. Let's see what I got. I got a name. Do I have two? Oh, I had two. Finally got one.
How many
Okay.
times is your name in there?
I don't put my. Oh, wait a minute. I had two names. This popped up first. Let me get my glasses on here. I can't read my own writing. Louisa Hodges, is she here? No? All right, we'll do it again. There we go. Let's see here. All right. Montoya, Lupita Montoya.
There we
I
go.
cannot believe it.
There you
I
are.
seriously cannot believe it.
Well,
I don't know what I want, but I'm very happy. That means it's
auspicious. You paid me for this, so the least I could do is draw your name.
Yes, but it's so funny.
So Lupita, do you live here in Houston?
Yes, I just moved here a little bit over a month ago.
Okay.
And I met Dr. Shih. She invited me to listen to today's presentation.
Wonderful. So what this thing is there is an independent bookstore in the Montrose area, Brazos bookstore. And we have a $10 gift card or gift certificate there with them. All you have to do is either go to the store or give them a call or look at their website and tell them that you won this month's Amnesty International gift or the raffle, and you can spend your $10 on whatever they have.
Oh, that sounds great. Does would you send that also information to my email?
Yeah, sure.
That would be great. Well, that is excellent because then you're forcing me, you're helping me explore the city because it's kind of like what I try to do on the weekends.
You know, I'd really recommend you to go down to that bookstore because it's really an amazing bookstore.
Okay,
Yeah,
sounds
yeah. It's Brazos bookstore in the Montrose area. You can Google it and look it up.
Brussels bookstore. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. The last thing that we have. Oh, a second. Before we close, we had ordered a whole bunch of Amnesty International T-shirts. We were going to participate in the MLK parade. We did that last year, but this year the original date was canceled, and we just could not, get back in. So, but we do have Amnesty International T-shirts that we plan to offer at a discount to members for future activities. And we Wally and Bob and I, we talked about having, maybe in addition to our monthly meetings, having at least an activity where we actually go out and do something, and we will offer these T-shirts at a discount to the members or anybody who wants to be part of that team. So we'll send information about any upcoming events pretty soon. Our next meeting is on April 1st, same time. And Bob is working hard to get Senator Menendez to talk about this issue that he has been bringing to as a proposal on air conditioning in Texas prisons.
Mm.
Yeah.
So Bob
And
is
among other
gonna-
things, social justice,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
put it on your save the date, April 1st, 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And once again, Dr. Shih, thank you so much for being our speaker for this monthly meeting.
Thank you.
Thank
Such a
Very
pleasure.
you.
good.
And you said to contact you if we had further questions.
Yes, absolutely.
And by the
Wonderful.
way, we did record it, and as soon as our expert Zoom master puts it on the YouTube, we will share the link to this meeting.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, all right, okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
thank
Dr.
you.
Shih.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Very good.
Thank
Very
you,
Right now.
everybody.
great